tell another story from the Baal Shem Tov here on the Torah video. You know, back in the old days when the Baal Shem Tov was first coming into his fame, some people were very skeptical. They called them Misnagdim. The word Misnagdim today is really, when people use it, is used inappropriately. Because in those days, Misnagdim, people were trying to put the Hasidim into jail. They would get them in trouble with the authorities. They would be very violent. Sometimes they would try to make a ban on the Hasidim. Why were they so concerned for Hasidus? Because during the same time period around the Baal Shem Tov was a time period of Tzfat, who had led Jews astray. And so they were afraid of the same thing happening again. But of course the Baal Shem Tov was a very, very holy man who wasn't going to make those same mistakes as Tzfat had done. But nonetheless, people were concerned and they were careful. And they were, as always, there's always skepticism sometimes when something is very holy and great. And Baal Shem Tov was bringing a new light to the world, a great light. And today it's very rare you find anyone questioning anything in any public way or magnitude against the Baal Shem Tov or the general Hasidic ways. But it's become more accepted. There's been a rare situation here in Tzfat where someone had come out with a book against the Baal Shem Tov and some of the Hasidim, which was appalling. And so the rabbis came out and they have signed delegations all over Eretz Yisrael that this rabbi should be put in cherem, he should be removed from his position. And it was found out many negative things about him, because obviously to talk against a tzaddik, a person has to really be missing something. You don't talk against tzaddikim. It's one thing to talk against a regular person, but to talk against a tzaddik, you're playing in dangerous waters. You don't talk against people that are close to Hashem, that Hashem has favor, tremendous favor over. And so in this particular case, all the rabbis around Eretz Yisrael are trying to help this person to return to his ways, because how could you speak against Baal Shem Tov? We don't do that today. That was 200 years ago, when there were real Misnagdim, people who were really opponents, and they had reason maybe to be concerned because it was a tremendously new thing that was coming into being. Now it's been 200 years. We see that Hasidus is a tremendous light for the Jewish nation, and it may not, for some people, it may not be their way, but it's respected. Baruch Hashem. And this story is very similar to what I'm mentioning now. You see, in Eretz Yisrael, it just became known in this one community about the Baal Shem Tov, so they sent 3 people out, 3 people to go to the Ukraine, to Russia, and figure out who this Baal Shem Tov was, and make sure that he's okay. So, they went to Baal Shem Tov, and the 3 of them had made 3 rules for themselves, what they're looking out for. One person was supposed to make special attention to Adam Baal Shem Tov, watch every move he makes. The other one was supposed to watch Rav Gershon of Kitov, his brother-in-law, watch every move that he makes. And the 3rd one was to watch the Hasidim and what they did. And so in this case, they had watched them over many weeks. They came to Yom Kippur, came to the prayer of Ne'ilah, where we make our final accounting, and Rav Gershon of Kitov, who was the Chazan, then wanted to renew his spirit. And we know that the nose, the smell of the nose is tremendous, is totally spiritual. There's no real physicality to it. It is one of the purest of the organs that allow us to have senses, and through that we can awaken our souls. That's why on Shabbos before Kiddush, the Hasidim smell something fragrantly, that's fragrant, and they make a bracha on it in order to awaken the soul, so they can make the Kiddush with more kavana, more concentration. So Rav Gershon took the snuff box and he smelled it, and then he put it down and he continued to daven. But one of the people saw that from Eretz Yisrael, and they weren't used to these practices. You know, when you come to some place new, everything stands out to you. You're able to see even the smallest little detail of what people are doing. And sometimes we look a little too closely and we don't realize that the person comes from a different walk of life. We have to judge them favorably. And we see what happens now. So after this happened, and this person judged Rav Gershon unfavorably, he went to the other people, and they each had favorable comments about Baal Shem Tov and the Hasidim. They saw mostly favorable. But then this thing about Rav Gershon, he told Gershon of Kito with the snuff box, he told them about it, and they were concerned. And because of this, Rav Gershon had a death penalty that Baal Shem Tov saw that was on him, that he was going to die, he was going to pass away, because of him, an innocent man, a tzaddik, and the Hasidim are going to have to be judged unfavorably. So he was going to take responsibility for this, because he had done this action which maybe he didn't need to do. And so, what was also the problem? Baal Shem Tov saw that one of the people from Eretz Yisrael, one of the three who saw this from Rav Gershon, that saw him take the snuff and told everyone to judge him unfavorably, he too was going to suffer the death penalty. He was going to die that year for judging his fellow Jew unfavorably. And we learn from Chazal that if you judge a person favorably, then Hashem will look at your actions and also judge you favorably. But when you look at someone with an eye not so good, that you too are being judged at, you're judging yourself, you're sealing your own judgment at that time. And so you see that person, why is he getting drunk right now? Why is he drinking? And then you go home, and a year from now, you take a drink when you're not supposed to. You just made the same din on you. You said, what is he doing? So Hashem's saying, what are you doing? Because you just sealed your own judgment. That's why Hashem had you see it, because you were going to make your own judgment over the next guy. That's why it's so important to always see the light in every person. So therefore you never bring din, judgment upon them, and you don't bring judgment upon yourself in the future. So you should always look for the eye of Tova, that a person is really, there must be a reason for what they're doing. And the Rosh Hashiva of Or Sameach once told me that, how do you do this? I asked him, how do you train yourself to do this? It seems very hard to judge everyone favorably. I told him I'm always having problems with this. And so he said, you should come up, this is what I do. He said that I come up with a story in my mind, even if it's not true. I come up with a whole show, a whole movie about this person in my mind. He's doing that because really he needs the beer, because he needs grain. He needs grain in his body. He needs more grain, and the alcohol is good. A little bit of alcohol, they say, it might be good for your health, just a tiny bit. And also he's doing it l'shem mitzvah because he just finished Shas, and here this guy could be a bore. I mean, he's a drunkard. He's like wearing beers all over him. But here you're making him into a tzaddik. This is how you have to view people, and you do it through coming up with stories in your mind. So how is the Baal Shem Tov going to figure this out? How is he going to save Rav Gershon, his brother-in-law, and this person from near death? So came Hoshana Rabbah. In tradition, Hoshana Rabbah, that you stay up all night and learn the Torah. And so the Hasidim were all there in the Beis Medrash, and Baal Shem Tov cast some type of spiritual spell on them, and everyone slowly were falling asleep. And then they took the snuff box to try to wake themselves up, and so they went around, and then the people from Eretz Yisrael, Gershon took it, the people from Eretz Yisrael, all three of them, they wanted a little bit of this thing to smell, to speak to the soul, and wake it up. And so, at that point, when the three of them took the snuff box and they realized that it was something good, then the judgment against Rav Gershon was gone, and therefore the judgment against the person who was judging Rav Gershon was gone. But there's more to the story. You see, a normal snuff box, maybe it doesn't have so much power. Today we know that this is not so healthy for the body. So Chazal teaches once it's known medically something's not good, we don't damage the body. It's not something to do. But there's other things to smell that are good. There's flowers, there's the esrog, and there's other plants. So what happened here, that this snuff box made such an impact on these people from Eretz Yisrael that they changed their mind totally. So okay, someone once threw some snuff in my nose. I smelled it. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't so good though. I wouldn't make I wouldn't change my total mind about it just from one sniff of the stuff. So what happened was Baal Shem Tov put in it the fragrance of the Garden of Eden. So they weren't just smelling the snuff box, but everyone was so uplifted, and they became strong. They learned all night with strength. It was because it had the smell of the Garden of Eden, and tzaddikim were able to latch on to this special spirituality. And so Chassidim are able to tzaddikim are able to latch on to this more spirituality, and he was able to put this into the snuff box, and it made a complete difference in both these people's lives. We learn from this the importance of judging everyone favorably. And so there was one time the holy tzaddik, or Rishim Bar Yochai, that there was no rain in the town, and so he wanted to pray for rain. So he sang a song. This song, Hine Matov Umanayim Shavas Achim V'M Yachad. How beautiful it is when the Jews join together and they serve God in the proper intentions and with unity. So I'll sing it for you now. Hine Matov Umanayim Shavas Achim V'M Yachad. So he sang this song, and then the rain began to fall, because there's much bracha and blessing that comes from the unity of the people when we look at everyone with greatness. Hinay matov umanoyim shavas achim gam yochad yedadai yedadai ay 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 yedadai ay ay Hinay matov umanoyim shavas achim gam yochad. Hinay matov umanoyim shavas achim gam yochad. Yedadai yedadai ay 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 ay. You